Good afternoon. This is Ron Brown. It is the 3rd of January 2026. It's about 3 o'clock in the afternoon. I had intended to get this out this morning, but I woke up, looked at the headlines in the New York Times, and saw that the United States had overthrown Maduro in Venezuela, so I kind of got diverted and spent the whole morning watching the news. But anyway, this was something I probably should have done on January 1st because I'm going to talk about the 2025 leaders in the S&P 1500 and take a look at the leading stocks and where they broke out and so on and why they are the leaders. So I'll go ahead and get started with that. As always, the market is your teacher. We learn that every day. Let's go on to the next page. Any stock index or ETF mentioned in this presentation is not a recommendation to buy or sell. All trading strategies are used at your own risk. Now, a couple things here. This is what I'm going to be sending out as a PDF. This is a video I'm going to make right now and create a link right there. But one other major change. Rather than doing a monthly add-on, I'm going to do a quarterly add-on. It doesn't mean that I won't be updating during that quarter. It just means that I'll only be relabeling the add-on files 4 times a year rather than 12 times a year if I continue to do monthlies. And that doesn't make sense. I will point out anything new that's in the files, but I'm just going to use first quarter, second quarter, and etc. The files have already been updated, so if you'll click on this link when you get the PDF file, you'll get the latest quarterly add-on, and you could just go ahead and install right over my other files. I've installed it on 2 other computers, and I haven't had any problems, so you should be able to just overwrite what's on there. You don't need to delete anything. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and get started, and let me show you where I am on the quick pick. I'm first of all in my major market indexes updated weekly. This is the market cap weighted, and this is equal dollar weighted. And for the this purpose, well, I think I'll just go ahead and use the equal dollar weighted index. Change to the index group. And I'm in my top-down market analysis views, and I'm using the percentage return up to 12 months of focus view. It's just got some less information, is what I'm trying to say, than this, and this does everything I want it to do. Now, I should have done this on the first. So I'm 1 day off, but it serves the same purpose. We just have 1 additional day on the 12 months, and this is the column that I'm going to be using. So I'm sorted on raw combo over here. I'm in the S&P 1500. You can see that there is no 12-month period here for SanDisk. I really don't know what SanDisk has been around a long time, but they must have reissued it. I don't know really what's been going on, but you can see that when I click here, it says 2/14/25, the week of. This is a weekly chart. That's when it started trading again. So it is one of the big winners. Not on the 12-month because that calculation isn't there, but just on the 6-month, it was up 495.6%. I'm going to bring it up here, and I'm going to do my alternate A. And let's just take it from this trading day right here to the close. Oh, my finger slipped. And if you look down here, it's small print, but you can see the change, the percentage change over 46 weekly periods going back, it looks like to February. 687.2%. Now, that's a massive gain for anybody that bought it here and held it. And let's compare that to what it says here on the 6 months. So we have a 6 month calculation, almost 500%, 495.6%. Now what I want to do is take a look. We'll use Sandisk just to start with, and I want to have the weekly chart over here where it is now, and a series of daily charts over here. So I'm just going to ad-lib this, and this is just a basic chart, as you can see. And when I zoom out, you can see there was a long base here on the daily chart, which corresponds with this area right here, and then it broke out here. What I want to do is look at charts that give us more information about when this stock really started moving. So this is under my most used charts. S and R's, support and resistance, or I've got them turned off. That's why it says invisible. And this is a clean chart. This here gives end of day information, which I don't need right now. And this one shows the pocket pivots. So number 1A, look at these blue areas here. It shows you where the volume was coming in, the blue and the rose areas, down volume and up volume. So when this stock started really moving, you can see there were 4 days here of it breaking out, and then 2 days where it was a little bit calmer, and then the volume started coming into it. So this just shows the force behind the move. You really see the volume spikes beginning right here. And that's when the stock was trading for approximately $72. Let's see if I can bring this up here. Alternate I is what I want, I believe. Alternate I brings up this window. So right in here is where the volume started coming into it. And it was a $49 stock at that point. And it's currently, as of yesterday, let's go to the 31st here. It was a $275 stock. So a $275 stock from approximately a $50 stock in a matter of, well, this is August. So you can see once the momentum began on this stock, it really didn't look back until we had this correction right here. And the date on this is November 20th. And if I look at the weekly chart, that pretty much corresponds to this candle right here, 1121. So there was a shakeout there, and you can see it clearly here. Need to get this out of the way. And at the same time, you can see that the group was heading down. So it is going into this consolidation period after it fell off, and you can see support coming into it right around here. Let's see what that looks like on the weekly chart. Shakeout and then several days of support. This corresponds probably to this candle right here. And now it's taking off again on more volume. Now let's look at this with a different chart. And the chart I'm going to use is This is under my most used charts. You should have these: undercut and rally, VFB setup and crossover. And let's just look at our other signals that are available to us. Okay, this is going back to August. You can see the pocket pivots coming in here where it started to take off, and here, well, the 3 crossed the 6 right here. This is compressed because of the moving averages. But these 3 volume pocket pivot bars right here correspond to the 3-6 crossover, and then there was this pullback, and this green bar here represents the next crossover. So if I put my crosshair on with the alternate C, you can see that's where it crossed over, where this run really began. And that was on 8/22. I used my alternate I key to bring this up, and this is where it was trading for around $45 to $47. And as the, I'll bring that back up. So as I go through this, it is suddenly these are all volume pocket pivots. Notice the histogram building as the 3 spreads apart from the 6. The 3 is the green, the 6 is the red. As it spreads apart, the histogram builds on all of these, but primarily here. And then we have a pullback, negative pocket pivot volume here, but just for a day or two. And then this green line right here, the light green line, suggests that there is some accumulation going on, and then the 3-6 crossover. And it really, I don't know, it may have pulled back here on that black candle, but it pretty much stayed above the 3 and the 6, which is, if you look over here, it's the expansion contraction micro trend. And so let's just take it after this pullback right here and do the alternate A on the crossover. So I'll take it from the crossover. Well, this is a yellow line, it's hard to see. But up to this point, what's the gain there? 140 and 150%. I need to change that color. See if I can do this. There we go. It's red now. Let's make it black. So 150% from here to here. Now, most people, if you get in a stock like this and you can write it 150%, would be perfectly content for the year. But this one, as I already pointed out, was up much more for the year. Now, of course, I'm going to do this again. I need to get another color here. Let's see if I can do this properly. From here down to here to the low, that's a minus 35.5% correction. But the long-term holders can ride that out, and then obviously I don't know how many people do that, but the institutions probably did it. And, you know, it's a bite, but if you can just hang on to these until they start showing signs of accumulation again, as you can see that this was a low, didn't get any lower than that, and then it started building again. So what do we have here? We have some simple indicators. We have volume pocket pivots, which means that the volume is heavier, up volume is heavier than any down volume during the previous 5 or 10 days, and just the reverse on the red bars. And then the 3-6 crossover, and then the expansion contraction short term, the 6 above the 18, and then the 18 above the 50. So If all these histograms are positive, that means there's a lot of institutional buying, especially since we're looking at a stock in the S&P 1500 where the institutions like to trade, more specifically in the S&P 500. But this is a really good example of volume coming in, the momentum beginning to the upside. Here's a pullback. It pulled back, but it didn't get below the 6 didn't get below the 18. You can see that right here, which keeps you in the right side of a trade. And then the 18 versus the 50, this has been positive all along. So if you're using longer term indicators like this, you would just be writing it out. Now, of course, I'm talking theoretically, but I'm just trying to point out how valuable these simple indicators are. You don't have to have a bunch of indicators because everything is based upon price and volume and group strength, and it's just anybody who invests a lot of time, and I'm speaking from experience, in indicators, most of the time you're just wasting your time. Okay, now I'm going to go over here and sort on the percentage price change 12 months. I'm a day late. Like I said, I should have done this on the over the weekend before we turned the new year, because this column here represents what happened yesterday on Friday. But in the S&P 1500, this stock, EchoStar Corporation, was up 393%. Now, I'm in the S&P 1500. Let's just go into all securities here. I'll come back to this, but here's one that's up 16,000%. It's a biotech. Here's another one up 2,200%, 2,300%. So these I've never heard of. But anyway, I'm just showing you that there are spectacular gains to be had. And let's go back down here, go to the S&P, and let's take a look at EchoStar. Now this is a totally different type of chart. You can see the news bump on this. This is a weekly chart here. Here's our daily chart. I'll click on this. 8/29 is the date, the end of August, and if I click right here, I assume this is going to be, that was a weekly chart before, this is a daily chart. So the gap up, it went from $51 right here to approximately no, I got that wrong. Let's see, it started at $30, ended at $51, so $21 gap here approximately. And that was on news of some sort. And you can see this is a volume spike here. And this is a red bar. Why? Because the way I have this set up, if the close is lower than the open, it's going to be red. But I know that there's heavy volume coming in because I'm looking here at the 3 crossing the 6 also, and the opening gap here, and it traded down, but this is a very positive bar even though it's red. And then we get volume pocket pivot bars all the way up. Now here's another red bar here. If I put the crosshair on it, notice that the close is lower than the open. I really don't know a way around that except visually I can tell that there is more demand than supply because it gapped open and went up. So those who bought the Bible gap up and held on to it to here, they made good money. And then there was a long period of frustration here where if you look at the 3-6 histogram here, you can see there was really no demand. There was some right here, there's demand, pocket pivot volume to the upside, a couple of efforts to rise, but then it went down. Now you may wonder, the dark green bars are the 3-6 crossovers, and the other green bars are signs of accumulation. I'm going to open this, and I'm going to click on VFB accumulation. The 3 is below the 6. This one here represents the dark green, or the crossovers. Well, let's look at this filter. They're essentially the same. If any of these conditions are met, any of these VPA flags or any of the candles are met in those conditions, then a line is generated. But this line down here, these two lines at the bottom, days since the 3 crosses 6, greater than or equal to 0 or less than 1, that's when these dark green bars are generated, and that's when the 3 is crossing the 6. It's hard to tell on this particular chart. But what I'm looking for, or what I want to explain here, is I'm going to cancel it. It had to recalculate. I'm going to do the next one down. It's essentially, it's the same filter, but days down since the 3 crosses 6 is greater than 0. So with these light green lines, the 3 has to be below the 6, days down. So they're showing signs of accumulation, but the 3 is below the 6, so they're really not valid signals. And the reason I put this together, and this has been a couple of years at least, is I wanted to see if this would allow me to see signs of accumulation before the 3-6 crossover. And you can see that there are several bars here where there was accumulation, and then ultimately there was a crossover of the 3 versus the 6. Pocket pivot volume coming in here and here, confirming it. So that's the purpose of this chart. Let's try one more. Let's see, this one's up 351%. And this is a good chart to look at, probably. You can see that it was down around the $70 area, and now it's up at 385 approximately. And you can see it was going down here. Just a quick look at the 3-6 histogram. You can tell if it's distribution or accumulation. There was an accumulation period here and then distribution, but notice as the distribution tapered off, the histogram started going back up, and then we had a 3-6 crossover here. At the same time, the volume pocket pivot volume was showing up, and the histogram starts going up. Now, of course, this is all compressed in the chart now, but that's what's nice about being able to look at the histogram. You can, pretty hard to tell anything up here, but you can see right here where the 3 went above the 6 again, and the green bars also indicate that. Now, I'm not getting any accumulation. Well, here there was a bunch of accumulation bars here, the light green, but nothing in through here. But the 3 is above the 6 most of the way here until the sell-off. And then, well, here's a 3-6 crossover that didn't go anywhere. Immediately there were some VPA flags, negative VPA flags. Let me zoom in on this. And then you can see the pocket pivot volume. And the 3-6 dipped down one day, and for the most part, as it went through this run right here, it stayed positive. A little shakeout here, and then here's accumulation and the 3-6 crossover. And it did, 3-6 went down, but notice how small the candles are. That means, and volume really dropped off to nothing, so not a lot of selling pressure there. So the main run here I'm just going to take it from right here. Alternate A. Make it a little thicker line here. Let's just take it off of this one right here. So that and alternate I will give us, let's see, it's close $386. And what were we back here? 187, or I'm sorry, $170. So made a huge run here. Yeah, I mean, you have to decide what your goal is here. If you want to try to ride some of these longer term, as long as this fan is in place, that indicates that there's pretty good interest from institutions. And when you see the volume supporting that, yes, you're going to get shakeouts. Of course you are. But if the 18 isn't penetrated, and this brown line is the 18, then the trend is still strongly up. And anyway, I'm going to leave it at that. This video is getting pretty long, but I just wanted to point that out to you, how you can use this chart to go back in time and have a weekly chart and then a chart which shows you where the buy points are. And this one, once again, you'll find it under, if you have my most used charts, and you should, UNR for undercut and rally, VBF setup and crossover, VPA flags, or candle. I know it's a mouthful, but it serves a purpose. Anyway, thanks for listening. Have a good week, good weekend, and I'll try to get another video out next week. Something a little more coherent. I know I jumped around a lot here, but thanks for listening. Happy New Year.